Alright guys, so it's still morning time, just a few minutes left before noon, so good morning. How in the hell are you? I've been sitting here for a couple hours awake, kind of just hem-hawing all morning. Sitting here with my beautiful view of the Love's parking lot, the fuel pumps in the parking lot. I'm sitting here in Michigan, near Lansing, Michigan, hoping to get something out of here pretty soon, man. I hate that this weather's so shit, because I know that's why I haven't gotten anything yet. I know that's going to make it difficult today, because I'm looking on Facebook and I'm watching all these videos and pictures that people are putting up of Texas and Arkansas, and just looks like shit. I mean, really horrible driving. So hopefully everybody that's out there is being safe and or just pulling it over, because it looks bad. But wanted to kind of touch on a couple things real quick, a couple of questions, a couple of topics. One of the topics is freight better paying in the afternoon? Had somebody ask about that because they're being told by their dispatcher, whatever, that freight pays better in the afternoon, to late evening. And I've seen it mentioned, I've seen it asked before, and it's my take on it is that obviously you get later in the day, your prices can get better because the amount of units available, the capacity of units available to take freight is starting to diminish throughout the day, ideally, and most likely. A lot of times, I mean, obviously, dispatchers, they see a load that they've got a unit near, they're trying to fill it. So at the beginning of the day, everybody's hustling and bustling to get loads, to get some units loaded and rolling. So as I said, it would stand to reason that in the afternoon, the prices could be better. Now, with that being said, people hear that and people start trying to hold off until the afternoon to get loaded. Well, then you take the risk that, there's not as many loads popping up, and everybody else starts doing the same thing, and because they're being told the same thing, so it could flip-flop. But as I said, it just stands to reason that you could get some better prices. But again, it's still more dependent on what area you are in, because the bottom line is, and there's no way to really tell. I think there's I think some people have access to a few apps that you can tell how many vehicles are in your area. But that's really what it comes down to is, how many others are competing for that same freight in your area. And another reason that the prices could be better in the evening is because coming to the end of the business day, and now say something comes up, an emergency comes up, a shortage that's known, or anything like that. So somebody obviously wants to get that covered ASAP, and they don't have the time to haggle for price or look for a lot of units. They might just have a first call, or they the broker that they're using is first call. So yes, that can contribute also to the prices being a little better in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, because now it's become, I guess almost a true expedite load. It's like, oh shit kind of load. It's late in the day, we're getting ready to go home, somebody just got an email, shit, we got a shortage on line such and such, is going to shut down, we need X amount of such and such to get here, and then they're in a scurry hurry to finish it and get it shipped out, and that can also contribute to it. Just as, it's a guarantee that freight later in the day is going to pay better than freight in the morning, it's not just a lock-in for sure thing. It's just common sense, stands to reason. Vans are gonna, or units altogether, whether it be straight truck or whatever, are gonna be loaded throughout the day. In the evening, there ain't as many around. So now, something else that's been brought up is, pertaining to getting loads later in the day. Some people have trouble being able to adjust their sleep, or they're not thinking they need to adjust their sleep throughout the day when they get these late loads, and then they end up being 1,000+ mile runs, long runs, or they run them directly through the night and they're just having a rough time taking them. Now, as a rule of thumb, well, for one, you need to ask your dispatcher what they're booking these loads at, as far as the protect time they're giving you, the amount of time they're giving you to do these loads, because they range anywhere from 45 mile an hour up to 55 miles an hour is kind of the range that most dispatchers will go. There's going to be some that are going to go even tighter than that, because they're just trying to win that load, and they're going to make that pickup and delivery time so slim that there is very little room for the driver to get any kind of rest, any kind of, if anything happens that's just out of the norm and it costs you time, it's going to really put you in a tight jam. So that's really the amount of time you're given on these loads is dependent on how your dispatch is bidding these loads. Now, mind you, it's understandable. You want to win a load. It's, you're trying to it's late in the day. You're trying to win this, and your dispatch may cut down on that delivery time just a little bit just to get you that load. But at the same time, this is something I've talked about in the past. If you are in service, you are seen as 100% ready to go on any load thrown at you, no matter the time. Now, granted, you'll have some dispatchers that can kind of pay attention decently and understand and know their drivers, and they know, well, this guy, it's late in the day, I know he doesn't like driving at night, whatever. But bottom line is, if you are in service, you're seen as 100% ready. You're fresh. You just woke up. You're ready to go and meet the day. That's how it looks to the dispatcher when you are in service, especially if you do not communicate to them your limitations or some things that you have problems with as far as a load being booked at a certain time. So be sure to communicate with your dispatch. If there's any kind of problem, say you're getting put on a load that's tight every time. And as I said, if you take the load that you get given to you, look at the loaded miles, you divide it by, anywhere from 45 to 55, and that should be what they're bidding it at, as I said, and that should give you ample time to make these runs. Because the longer the run, bid up to upwards of 55 miles an hour, it still should end up with enough time to where you have enough time to stop, rest, and whatnot. You're not going to stop and get a full beauty sleep night of 6 to 10 hours, whatever somebody likes, but you should get enough in there to be rested enough to take the load. And on the topic of sleep, that's something you got to do, especially if you know that you get loads more often later in the day than you do early in the day, which is, it's same for where I'm at. We tend to, depending on the area, more than likely we get something that's later in the day, especially when I'm at home, which is crazy. When I'm at home, it seems like par for the course. Somewhere between 4 and 7 p.m. is when I'm going to get a load out of there. So with that being said, if you know that you get late loads, on nights that you don't have a load and you're not running all night, still stay up late. Still, stay up late, sleep later into the day, or if you do wake up early, you've got to teach yourself to be able to get that early afternoon sleep, somewhere around 1, 2 o'clock, or maybe 12 to 2 o'clock. If you can't, that's where you have to basically tell your dispatch, hey, I can't do those all-nighters. Once 5 o'clock rolls around, I can't do nothing better than, say, 500 miles, Now, obviously, that's going to limit you. So, it's unfortunate, but you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't get all kinds of sleep and get all the miles. Something's going to be sacrificed. Some sleep and comfort's going to be sacrificed, or your miles and pay is going to be sacrificed. One of the two. Unless you're just, like I said, unless you're able to learn how to really balance the two, you're not going to be okay. One's going to outweigh the other. I'm the type that I've just, like I said, everything I'm out here to do is anticipation of the next load. So I get my load. And again, if I don't want to take a load, I'm going to tell them I don't want to take a load. I've very rarely done, I think, out of the entire time, I think I've went out of service one time because of being tired. As I said, because I'm out here to make money. If I'm going to be gone away from home, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm not going to sit out here and to get restful, all kinds of comfortable sleep while I'm out here. I know there's going to be some, you know, some uncomfortableness in there, because this is work. I mean, this is what I'm doing to earn money. Now, again, that don't apply to everybody, because not everybody's out here for the same goal as far as ultimately just to make money and so on and so forth. So you have a little more wiggle room. You have a little more wiggle room to say, hey, I don't want to take a load later in the evening. There's plenty of people that I've known that come 6, 7 o'clock, boop, cut them off. They're done for the night. They want to kick back a couple of drinks. They want to have a nice leisurely dinner. They want to hang out and just watch a movie or whatever it is, and then wake up early the next morning and hope to get something the next day. So everybody's got their own way of doing things. So I just, as I said, I recommend making sure you manage your sleep if you know your dispatch gets the late loads. Again, you just can't balance the two. You're not going to have a good balance of the two without being able to sacrifice one or the other. So hopefully that covered the question. I was answering this for somebody in particular today who had messaged me. So if that didn't answer that fully, message me, let me know what's going on, and then I'll get to you. It's just easier to put some of this stuff in a video than to text it all out and you're going back and forth. I'm just not big on sending a bunch of messages back and forth. It's easier to, you know, to either do the video or sometimes talk. So yeah, hit me up if this doesn't cover it. And I'm out of here, and let's get us a damn load today, man.
Your hustle got to be strong in this industry, as in any other industry.